Here.
No, I'm not a writer.
Okay.
And here we are. This is Mike Lodge. I am the business advisor, and I am on this podcast this morning on a beautiful, beautiful Wednesday morning. I'm looking out into the back of my home, and where my office is also, and it's just a vibrant green. It's absolutely gorgeous, very beautiful. So, how's everyone this morning? Hope everyone has their cup of coffee and they're ready to start giving a little bit of talk. And let's talk about some things that I'm sure is bothering you and just not me. I'm sure that as you listen to the news and as you read and as you probably have Twitter and Facebook, you're seeing a lot of words out there, right? On all of this politics and also on the economy and everything else that's going on. And you get to a point where you say, okay, what do I believe? Who do I listen to? Where am I going to get my source of information that's going to guide me through the day so I know how to make some financial decisions? And so you sit there and you listen to CNN and you listen to Fox News and you listen to all of these news organizations out there, but they're all spinning basically total opposite information. So you begin to wonder what's believable and what isn't. And that is the biggest question that we have to ask ourselves today is, what do we believe? Yesterday I talked a little bit about how Washington, D.C. is run by a very, very elite group. They've been in Washington forever. They've gained and gotten their power, and they're using it. And even in various departments of the government, we see overreach and we see abusive use of their power. And so even then we question, okay, how trustworthy, how ethical is government? It's a big deal. We don't know who to trust anymore within our own government. Somebody on Twitter this morning said that we are now a banana republic. Listen, I have worked in third world countries and I've seen how the justice system works over there and how things can get done very easily by just a little bit of money under the table. I have seen it. I have been there. And that is commonplace when you look at third world countries. It's also commonplace when you look at banana republics who are controlled by dictators. And we're almost at that point at the moment where we are looking at the elite in government and how they really are acting as the honchos of a banana republic and how they misuse their power and how they attack people who do not agree or are not part of their regime, if you want to call it that. I don't like to say these things. I don't even like to think about these things. Listen, I come from a political family. I come from a family where we served both Democrats and Republican presidents because we felt that duty was more important than power. I had one cousin that served President Kennedy, served President Johnson, served President Nixon, served President Eisenhower. He served a lot of different presidents that were from different political parties. It was a different time back then where service was really the truth of service. They wanted to serve their nation. And it didn't matter which president it was, as long as they were making the right choices for the American people. But now it has become a totally different type of government. No one works with each other. They condemn each other. They try to incite people against each other. They try to divide a whole nation. They try to attack religion. They try to introduce social issues that the American people don't want to have anything to do with. But they push it because they know that if they can divide, they can control. They have the power that they need to do whatever they want to without the voice of the American people. And that's where we are today. Now, this podcast is supposed to look at business and talk to you about business. But we are in a nation where the decisions that are made in politics affect business. They affect our own personal finances. They affect the education of our children. And so the last few days I have really had to talk about the politics of this country because it affects you and I. If we own a small business, the actions of Congress and the actions of the president and the actions of the Commerce Department and the Small Business Administration can help us or it can kill us. And we have seen this happen with the PPP loans and other types of government money that gets misconstrued and hurts the small business guy. During the pandemic, since I'm in private practice and I'm by myself, I could get no help from the government. And I had months that went on during the pandemic where my business completely died. And the money that I had was out of my savings, and I used my savings to be able to survive. Thank God I had that. But I could not get any unemployment benefits under the COVID stuff that was going on. I could not get PPP. I didn't qualify for PPP. So for me as a small guy, a small business person, it really hurt. But there was a lot of promises during that time from politicians that said that everything was going to be okay. But when clients of mine took that money, it became a hassle. It became a problem because all the promises that were made changed along the way. And we literally had to fight to get any PPP loans forgiven or anything like that. Anytime that the government hands out money, there are so many things that are attached to it that what happens within the compliance part of the free money is not what is told to you by the politicians. And that is a problem. So we're at this point now that when we listen to politicians, we have to listen very carefully. When they say that is an Inflation Reduction Act, it's not. That's a lie. It's hidden a Green New Deal in there. Nothing of it had anything to do with inflation. And when we talk about Debt Reduction Act that came out of this past Congress, it didn't reduce any debt. In fact, it increased debt by $4 trillion. So when they put out these words that this is going to help our inflation, it's going to help our debt reduction, it doesn't. It's a lot of words. They massage it. They roll it around in their hands until finally they get to a message that they think will sell. And then they use the words of inflation reduction, debt reduction, and all these other terms that has nothing to do with what they're doing. So I apologize to you if I have to come on here and talk about politics, because I don't want to. I hate talking about politics. I've been in politics in a political family for so long that when we sat down at the dinner table, that's what we would talk about, would be politics. Who said what? Who said this? What a policy means, what it doesn't mean. So I've gone through it throughout my life. And in some cases, I'm glad because I know how to read what's really going on. So I apologize for talking about politics, but right now, the politics that is going on in Washington is hurting small businesses. It's hurting the American family. Every single time that we hear about a new policy coming out, it never saves us any money. It never helps us in any way. Remember, we were supposed to have all of this infrastructure money that is going through and was supposed to be spent on roads and freeways and bridges and whatever else, internet or whatever else that it was assigned for. But none of that has never happened. We have train wrecks that are happening. We have bridges that are collapsing. We have roadways that are sliding off to the side of the road. Nothing is being done on our infrastructure. So every time that they say that something's going to help, it's not going to. So what do? We have to fight back. We have to let them know that we are not happy with the message that they have sent us, which was a lie, and what we're seeing not happening with what they said they were going to do. So we are made a lot of promises every single day by politicians. And it affects our small businesses, and it affects you as you're shopping at the grocery store, buying gas, or trying to find a way to fund schooling for your kids. It affects us. And the only way that we can drive change is by driving some people out of office. Those individuals who are going in a different direction than what the needs are of the American people, we have to drive them out of office. And if you are donating to politicians, stop it right now. Boycott money going to politicians. Because you're not getting what you paid for. You're not getting what you thought you were going to get. I have never donated to a politician because I don't want my money wasted. That $20, I can buy a meal for a lunchtime. I can help myself. And by the way, it's not deductible. When you donate to political endeavors, to politicians, it's not deductible. It's a waste of money. It's going down the tube when you could be buying new shoes at Target for your kids. So stop wasting money. Boycott giving money to the politicians because it's not doing us any good. It really isn't. So again, I'm afraid I'm going to have to talk about politics just a little bit longer because there's some bills coming up before Congress that I do not like, that are going to do damage to small business. And I'm going to talk about them. And I'm going to push back. But I want you to listen just a little bit. You don't have to agree 100% with me. I don't want that. I want you to think independently. But there are some things coming in out of Washington, D.C. that is not acceptable to small business and to our personal finances. Well, that's enough of that, right? So listen, if you would like to sit down with me in confidence and go over some business issues that you have on your mind, go to my website at www.lodge-co.com. And if you would like to ask a question, send it to thebusinessadvisor@gmail.com. By the way, my new book's out. It's on Amazon. I'll put the link down below. Everybody go out and have a great day today. God bless. Love you a lot. Bye-bye.